Collaboration is key for team success. With ClickUp, you can easily manage your team's tasks and timelines in one app. Using our Gantt chart feature, you can map out your team.
Why is it that if the best person in the world lives here, they get paid this much? But if...
Quica na pica sem dó. Fica na pica sem dó.
Dia xereca me acordou da melhor forma. Bom dia xereca me acordou da melhor forma. Bom dia xereca, bom dia xereca me acordou. Dia xereca, bom dia xereca me acordou. Olhando pra mim, com a boca na minha piroca. Olhando pra mim, com a boca na minha piroca. Bom dia xereca, bom dia xereca me acordou. Bom dia xereca, bom dia xereca me acordou. Olhando pra mim, com a boca na minha piroca. Olhando pra mim, com a boca na minha piroca.
Alright, so now let's do a little bit of programming. Again, if you are already familiar with programming, you can skip this part and move on to the next section. We are going to do a little bit of bash scripting, some Python scripting, and a tad bit of C. You don't necessarily have to know any programming to do this class. The only time we're going to see any programming that you have to do is in the exploit development section, and I make it pretty easy for you. I'll give you exploit skeletons, and you just have to fill in the exploit string. So don't worry if you're not a programming expert, but I would encourage you to pick up some programming if you haven't already, if you want to continue in pen testing, or anything in security really. Exploit development, you're certainly going to have to know at least some scripting and probably just with pen testing in general. Certainly if you ever want to write your own pen testing tools or plugins for some of the existing tools, say a Metasploit module, and you may just find some script just doesn't work, and it should, and you're on a time crunch, and you need to be able to fix it. So it's certainly worth knowing programming. I mean, certainly there are plenty of pen testers who aren't programmers, but at least having a small amount of programming knowledge, I would say, would be pretty essential. So we're going to start with bash scripting, so B-A-S-H, and there are slides for this, as with all the modules, for you to look at accompanying the videos, and as you work through this. So I've just come up with a few little exercises here. So for the bash script, we're going to basically do a ping sweep. So we saw ping in the previous section. We looked at, once we had set up our network, pinging another system to see if it was alive. We noted that the system doesn't necessarily have to respond to ping in order to be alive, but it's a good indication. So for instance, we could ping www.google.com and it replies, so we get 64 bytes from the IP address of Google. So we are getting a reply. If we do ping www.google.com, hopefully there's no so how about www.bulbsecurity.com? Something that doesn't exist. So now we're not getting a response. So there is no www.bulbsecurity.com. So what might we want to do to make this a bit easier for us? If we say had an entire Class C network, or slash 24 or 255.255.2550, so we had 254 possible hosts, and we wanted to see which ones were alive, which ones were at least answering to ping. We could do it manually, but that wouldn't be much fun, would it? Our time is much better spent on things that computers can't do easily. So we might want to write a script. So let's create a little bash script for that. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And so I'm going to use Nano. Again, I like Nano. You're welcome to use VI or another editor that's on here if you're more comfortable with something else. I'm just going to call this ping.sh, the shell script. And what we want to do first, since this is going to be a script, we want to tell the interpreter, or basically, tell Linux what interpreter to use for this. So we want hash bang, so hash and then exclamation point, and slash for root, bin, bash. So we want to use the bash interpreter since this is going to be a bash script. After this we'll do Python, so we'll use a different interpreter. But for this one, bin bash. And basically in here we can just talk as though we're talking to a Linux system. We're just sending it a list of commands to do one after the other. So we want to say echo. Remember echo, right? That's going to write out to the screen. I'm going to start with some usage about how to use this script. Alright, usage, colon, dot slash. That's going to say run this program from the current directory. So we're going to do dot slash ping. Tasks very quickly that are repetitive and dull and require a lot of input. Same thing with vulnerability scanners.
basically give it a database of possibilities and checks of how to try it, and it can do lots of checks rapidly, whereas we can only do so many ourselves, and it can of course remember everything. So I think that they're quite useful if you do any professional pen testing. No doubt you will find yourselves working with vulnerability scanners a lot. So I would definitely encourage you to know how to use them at the very least. We're going to use one called Nessus. There are certainly others. You're welcome to try others as well. If you have access to a SSD, start Nessus Daemon. And so that starts that up. So that's like our service